Sawtooth Day, what's happening, guys? Hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. Another quick week of sitting and bullshitting. Not a lot to show you, but this was definitely a struggle bus kind of week. So, yeah, let's just do it in order, I guess. Doug sent me a XM18 slicer, no choil, for a regrind. He got it on trade. First thing I did, try to take it apart and stripped out the hardware. So it did have, the dude that put it in, I guess there's I guess two sides to every story, right? But whoever put it together with pretty much all the strength they had and a lot of Loctite. But it had those, where's this camera at? It had the black hardware like this in it, which I guess it's kind of sort of hard to find. I don't know. I probably should have looked around, but anyway, I was able to get one of the screws out plus the pivot screw out. I got the blade out, regrind the blade, got in touch with Doug, say, hey, what you want to do? And he's like, just go ahead and take care of the hardware. And he was talking about doing acid stone wash and changing it all anyhow. So this is the new hardware. This is actually the stainless hardware from Hinderer. And I just blasted it and tumbled it. Same with the liner. So the liner's now blasted and tumbled, and the stop pin as well. And the blade is regrind to a hollow ground slicer. So you really can't see the grinds that much now. I finished it off. It was like the highest grit finish I think I've done. I think I did it up to 400 grit, and then I, dipped it in acid, stone washed it, so kind of hit all that stuff I did to it. But the only thing that strikes me as odd on this, because it's a no choil, it's how it comes down and meets the transition here. You kind of see this little point. I don't know if maybe you can or can't see that point. Thought about making a sharpening choil on that, but we haven't really discussed it with Doug yet, so I may or may not do that. Other than that, this thing's finally good, but this thing fought me every single step of the way. When I pressed the stop pin out, it pressed out fine. When I go to press it back in, nothing there. So I had to do some magic to make that thing press back in again. It's just one of those, if you've ever built a car, motorcycle, I'm sure a lot of projects, some projects just build themselves. They just kind of like just fly through and build. And other projects just like, they fight you the whole way. That's the way this one was. So I think this one nicknamed this one the Hell Child Hinderer, because that's pretty much what it was for me anyhow. Hell Child Hinderer. But it's all good to go now. All the problems are fixed on it. If I can just get my thumb to work right. It's good. If I hadn't already mentioned to you before, like when you do a regrind on this, I'm gonna show you how thin this. See if I can show you how thin this is. So you see, it's much more of a pokey, stabby, slicey Hinderer now compared to where the Hinderers are usually. And it took a lot of weight out of it. That's a lot of meat. Is the way this grind goes up like this, you're taking a lot of the meat out, making a hollow grind. So it makes a big difference on the action. Not so much on the opening, because opening actually makes it a little faster. But on the close, like if you're used to Hinderers, how they close, it doesn't close the same now because it's a lighter weight blade. It's a weird thing, man. Like you almost have to feel it to experience what I'm saying. But I even noticed on the Sawtooth that I was carrying yesterday on this is the BGM regrind Sawtooth. It don't feel the same, man. It just doesn't feel the same. It still feels good, but it's not the same as a regular Sawtooth. And you can notice it even in hand. And even this is not that much material removed, but it's enough to make it, way thinner behind the edge. This is still good regrind, but just one of those things. Like, I guess somebody asked me about doing my process and that sort of thing. And maybe I should go over like what I've learned so far with the grinding and regrinding and that sort of thing. So maybe if some of you are trying or whatever, if you're sending one in, you kind of have a clue what I'm talking about. So that's the main one I did this week. It took a long time, seemingly because I really didn't have any time off. I had Tuesday kind of do paperwork, but I worked through the holidays and everything. So like we've pretty much been, this is my first really day off for a minute now. Who cares about that? Let's backtrack for a second. Nick Edwards, Behind the Edge. I'm sure everybody knows him. If you don't, follow him. He had shown a Dolore on his channel, and I'd mentioned to him even then, like, hey man, you ever get rid of that, But it's the wrong time. It's the wrong month for me. And he worked out a deal with Jeff. And if you watch Nick's video, Nick said there was really the one only complaint really he had was that the blade was hitting the stop, the standoff in the back, and he didn't really like how it was. So Jeff was like, hey, I want to buy it, but you think you can send it to Dave and have Dave fix it, and Dave sent it to me. So they worked out that deal. I'm friends with both of them, so it kind of worked out great for me as well. I get to check out the Dolore, which is this is a great knife, man. So like while I had the 18 out here, right? So I'll go into what I did fix it here in a second. I just want to show you size wise. If you're unfamiliar with the Dolore. So overall size length is pretty dang close to the 18. It's pretty similar to the 18 overall. Obviously the thickness is where it's going to be much thicker on the Dolore. So I like the beefiness of this one. The handle design getting thin towards the edge right here is not my favorite, but it's really not meant to be held. Well, I guess you can hold it back here, and it's okay back here. But when you choke up, that's where it's really at. Like choking up on this thing, and like when you see my pretty much, it fills my hand up pretty good, like that with that little bit kind of sort of at the end. I'm kind of cramming my fingers forward here, but it just feels better up in that forward grip to me. This knife is sick, but to show you the fix I did on it. So in looking with this, I could have made a tool, and if I had a mill working, I probably would have made a tool to fix that snake pivot, but I didn't. So looking at it, I was like, well, you know, I could have made a different standoff or maybe turned it to lathe or something like that. But I was like, it just makes more sense to just kind of groove it. So hopefully this will come out all right. And you can see that little groove that I put in that standoff right there. You see that little groove that's cut in there? Hopefully you can. I'm trying to hold it in light where I can see it. There you go. You can see it in there. And then I put a little heat back in it to kind of sort of match the rest of that. So you can't really tell anybody has done anything to it. Like if you didn't know the difference, you would think it came from Dolore that way. And that's kind of sort of what the goal was in the first place anyhow, right? But now you can see that when it's closed, you can barely see that it's in there. If you can or can't, I don't know. But man, what an honor to be able to check out this knife, man. Super. If you watch Nick's impressions, I'm almost spot on exactly from what Nick said. It's a little bit thicker behind the edge than what you would expect for a big custom like this, but it's also a heavy use custom. So like it's thicker ground than like the Sawtooth is right now from the BGM grind. But like a stock Sawtooth, if you're familiar with how thin that gets behind the edge, that's probably about where this one is. So it's not bad. It's a good hard use style knife. Obviously heat anodized. All like you can see from a machinist standpoint, it's not it's top tier machining. It's still kind of a little bit on the lower level of machining, like little things like, see that stop pin, how it's turned and just left like that, both sides. Like that's manually done, and it's just like from somewhat of a more novice machinist. Like I do shit like this too, but like if you're trying to really finish something, you're going to go about a different path of it. And that's basically what it is. It's finish. It's not really the machine, it's the finishing of it. But it's all done well. Not saying it's not, but you see the pivot. It's kind of, I guess it's eccentric or something. I don't know how it's held in there. I'm assuming it's eccentric turned, which if you don't know what that means, it's just different axes. So I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I'll draw a picture sometime. And like I said, the snake pivot hardware on that side. Pocket clip does stick proud a little bit and does have a little slight tap right there. But I mean, it's nothing. You can take it off and bend it if you want to. This is just a great knife. Lockup's great on it. Action's good. I'm shaking it with my left hand like a crazy man. I believe this thing, it's on nylon, not phosphor bronze. If I look through this little gap in here, which y'all not gonna be able to see, I believe that's what it's on. It has a different feel to it. Like it feels good, but it doesn't feel like quite phosphor bronze. It doesn't feel like quite bearing. So I'm pretty sure this one's on nylon, run on nylon washes. Almost guaranteed. Just has a different feel to it. I dig it though, man. This thing's very cool. And thank you, Jeff and Nick, for letting me check this Dolore out. Size-wise, it's a little bit, Nick even said it, it's just a little smaller than what I normally carry, and he's right. Like this is, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to carrying it, I guess, because the beefiness kind of intrigues me. It's kind of like more like that S90 or Hyper 90 or Dolore size. It's kind of like that size, smaller, but still got the good chunk to it and beef to it. It's a good heavy knife. No relieve and none of that crap's in this thing. But it just an honor to check this one out, and I got to send this back to Jeff tomorrow, and Doug, I'll send yours back tomorrow as well. One last thing, and it's not done. Unfortunately, I thought I had it licked, but it's not. This is something I'm seeing J Cape from Daniel the Pointy End, Dan. So the biggest thing was on it that I broke the lock bar last time, lock bar insert, trying to press the detent in it. So I made a new detent, and you can see lockup was solid as a motherfucker. No problem there at all. Problem is I missed the detent just a hair, and I mean a hair. And this sucks, and I'll see if I can show you. So if you watch the blade right here, this is fully closed, and when I press the detent in, You see the blade rise a little bit? That's how much I missed it. So that's a good detent, but now at this point, the blade's sticking up a little bit and I can snag it with my finger. So I just missed it. So I got to make a whole nother lock bar insert, try it again. It does officially have detent now, so it'll actually work. And it does have lockup, so it'll lock up, but as this closed position, when it's all the way against the stock pin, it'll just fall right out. But when I press the detent in, you can see how it locked it in, but the blade's sticking up just a little bit right there. So it sucks, man. I just barely missed it. I'm trying to do this shit on crude machinery, like us, like looking at that Dolore. I'm like, man, that does for crude machinery. He does a great job for that, because that's basically what I'm trying to do now, and it's kicking my butt. Well, I need better tools and stuff too, but I mean tooling. Like I don't have the right drills. I'm just trying to wing it the way I got stuff laid out in there, and it's really dumb. But man, 10 minutes. Let's just call it this week. So somewhat of a frustrating week, I guess, but all ends well. Like I proved to myself I can make an insert, I can make it lock up good with that insert, and just the detent was missed on it. So I'll have to regroup, get some better tooling, and hopefully give another crack at that. And an honor to see the Dolore. So I'm gonna leave it there. Little quick video for the week, I guess I would say. But hopefully we'll have more stuff to show you next week. We'll see. Almost the end of Nothing November. So I don't plan on buying new stuff. I might even do the whole Nothing till beginning of the year. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, let's call it. All right. Y'all be good. Sorry I'm not like the most energetic. Just got to catch up with stuff. All right. Y'all be cool. Later.